station in the parking lot with the app, with the latest version I had, and watch trains arrive and leave to see if it was actually accurate and if it was more accurate than the number of minutes left. And it turns out actually a little better. So I was like, all right, I'll publish it. See what happens.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
What's your opinion about user experience design?
Specific for BART Runner or in general?
In general.
It is hugely important. I think, especially if it's a consumer utility, that is almost the entire game. At one level, it can't be broken.
Yes.
But everything on top of that is UX, and that is the entire experience that should define the success or not. Your product doesn't matter how good the code is or not. Depends on the user experience. That's it.
So, what do you think a good app should be?
That's a good question. It should definitely be fast.
Yes.
It shouldn't have that feel of clunkiness, like of slow sort of stuttering.
Yeah. Yes.
That'd be my draw. The information architecture should be clear. And it should look modern, which is obviously a big weakness of BART Runner. I haven't updated it in a long time. I think that's those are kind of the most important things.
Why do you choose to develop an Android app, not an iOS app?
At the time, I only had an Android phone.
Yeah.
No, that Apple, they require you to maintain a developer account with them. They have to pay for every year. It's like $99 every year.
Oh.
Google was just like a $20 one-time registration fee. So between that and like actually having the Google phone, I just wasn't in the iOS ecosystem at all. Since then, I actually have done a lot of iOS development, but I've never had the time or willpower to go back and rewrite BART Runner for iOS.
Yeah, I love Android too. So let's back to the topic.
Okay.
Tell me about your last time experience of taking a BART, please.
It's funny, I actually don't use BART Runner as often anymore. I think it's just because my schedule isn't as constrained. I usually take it home. I often take the Transbay bus to work. I live in East Bay, I live in Alameda. And I work in the city. That's where I am now, in San Francisco. I'll often take the BART home. And the station's right around the corner, so I can walk there pretty easily. I always get there within like 2 or 3 minutes. I just wait for the right train. I've gone through the system so many times now, and I've worked with it that I kind of already know like what train I need to take to get to which destination.
Yeah.
So I usually don't even use an app or anything now. I just hop on the train and go. But yeah, it's a pretty basic experience. I listen to podcasts on the train.
So I guess you have mentioned a bit. Why did you decide to develop BART Runner?
It was basically the story I mentioned before, where I was getting frustrated as someone who used the system but wasn't quite an expert, like didn't have my rhythm down yet in the system. I was frustrated by the lack of precision in the estimates that I was being given. Not only that, but every other app, they would say, they would give you the departure times for all trains going everywhere.
Yeah.
But only some trains will actually get you to where you want to go. So they also didn't do that kind of filtering. And I didn't want to do kind of like a trip planner kind of thing, which is the other route people go, kind of like the, Google Maps directions.
Yeah. It's too complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go in real fast, say, this is where I'm going, and just see the trains.
Yes.
So it's kind of born out of that frustration. I wanted that sort of optimized flow for what I wanted to get done.
So what is your process of design this app?
That was me. Yeah. Built the whole thing. There's nobody else.
Okay. So, how would you decide about which features should be in your app?
I thought about the flow mainly. The idea that, I had a question that wanted to be answered, and that question is, given this destination, when are the train leaving? Given this origin, this is where I am, and this is where I want to go.
And what time?
What are the trains? Yeah, what time are the trains leaving? That'll get me from here to there. And just kind of optimizing around answering that question, which is interesting because actually I got feedback once from someone who wrote to me and said, hey, if you have that data already, like in that home screen listing where it shows like kind of your saved routes, they're like, can you just pick like the next leaving train for that and show that up there? And I thought that was a great idea because instead of like a 2-page app, suddenly that turned into a 1-page app.
Yes.
You just open it up, like you have an answer immediately. I was like, that's a great idea. So, yeah, in a sense, that is sort of the great question of BART Runner that everything's built around.
So, which part of the app do you think can be improved?
The design definitely needs updating. I built the thing in 2011 when it was actually just before Android 4.0 came out, and right about the time that I was releasing. I think I released like initial version, and then it was like the Holo design language is what it was called back then in the Android 4 era. What was that, ice cream sandwich?
Yes.
But so I did some work to get it ported over to the Holo look and feel, and have that backwards compatible with everybody who was running Android 2.3 phones and 2.2 phones. But since then, like I haven't been able to do any material design stuff. I haven't been able to do that sort of updating. So
what would you do if you want to redesign the app?
It's tricky because I could do a redesign in code, but a lot of the code right now has been written in a lot of the old style that they would recommend.
Oh yes.
They've the actual SDKs in Android have matured a whole lot in the last 7 years, and there are a lot better, more efficient ways to do a lot of things that I'm doing in the app. So putting design on top of that, it's like I'd probably have to change some of that code anyway. So I'm almost tempted to do a more fundamental rebuild of the app and kind of like redesign it from the ground up. Make sure that the flows are still appropriate. Design it for modern design metaphors. And actually, I've been using React Native, which is it's a technology. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's a technology that allows you to build both Android and iOS apps with the same code base. So I'd almost be tempted to do something like that, so that in a rewrite I can get 2 apps out of it instead of just the Android app.
So if I want to redesign the UI of the app, so what suggestion do you want to give to me?
The tricky thing, like, if you're going to make like mock-ups, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.